I'm here today with Tom of Evergrey to talk about A Heartless Portrait, out May 20th on the Napalm Records. You must be excited, ecstatic, perhaps a little nervous about this release. Are you?
Me? No, I'm super confident, super happy, super eager to get it out there for you guys to hear. And man, if I released any albums through my life that I was highly confident about, it's this one. Uh, yes, I'm all fired up. I've been doing interviews 3 per hour since 8 hours back. So you're my last for today, Pedro. So I'm sorry, you're getting the worst of me.
Or maybe the best, because now at least I know that you're well oiled. You're a well oiled machine by now.
Yes, worn out. No, I'm good. I'm good.
Did you set yourself any goals, not just for you, but for you and the band, as far as this record is concerned?
We always do, but not any different goals than any other album. We want to make the better songs, a better song than the last one. That's it. That's our recipe. That's all we do, and we wanted to keep it interesting for ourselves. And it needs to be fun for us. If it's not fun and inspiring, we don't do it. We don't do this just because the sake of doing it. It's like it's too much work, it's too much hassle, and we're getting paid way too little to just do it if it sucks. So it's no, it's all good. We're in a great position. We have a great chemistry in the band. We're energized and full of confidence, and like you can see, I'm talking like a Duracell rabbit.
The last three records, while being individual albums, you cannot deny the correlation that exists between the three of them. This record, the first one in that sequence that now kind of breaks that mold and it's kind of stands on its own. Did that change the creative process behind the album?
Can I correct you without being an asshole? It's actually the second one. I mean, we ended the trilogy basically on the Atlantic, and then we sort of stepped into the aftermath of that with the Escape of the Phoenix. And now this is pretty much the same processes as we had for the Escape of the Phoenix, where I could write sort of 10 standalone songs, or we could write 10 standalone songs that, have their own story basically. But they're always these underlying stories within the album. Like for this album, we have a trilogy of songs that is making this video trilogy again to make it interesting for ourselves. But we're still writing about the same. I'm still writing about the same topics as I usually do. It's about me and my sort of outlook on the world and how I find myself not fitting in and how I want to distance myself more and more from a world that I see becoming more and more violent and ruthless and egotistic.
Is this a simpler record, or did you simplify some of the processes coming in? The reason I'm asking this is because it felt, at least it felt to me as an album that was easier for me to digest, easier for me to get into.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I mean, when the Escape of the Phoenix came out, the day after it came out, we sat down and had a band meeting. Okay, so let's see, what are we doing now? We have this damn pandemic, and we figured out, smart as we are, that we couldn't play for a bunch of years probably. So we just figured we'd keep on writing and see if we had it within us to get inspired and fired up for another album. And so in the beginning, it was just a process where we tried to get inspired. And then we also switched labels. So that gave us new energy all of a sudden, just that fact alone. Then we wanted to prove to them that they didn't bet on the wrong horse, And yeah, so we went back to our writing studios and wrote for 6 weeks. And then we met up everybody and we had like 50 song ideas, new song ideas. And, we shook that down to 10. And started producing them, So I don't know what the question was, but I hope I answered it because I talked for a long while.
I think you kind of did, but at the same time, you did. But
I remember.
But it's okay.
Now I remember.
Okay. It's been a long day.
Yeah, but I mean, so what we did was we started writing these 10 songs. Me and Jonas went back to our studios and started producing them. And while we did that, we were also recording them properly, because we made the mistake 1 million times that, oh, that was great, I just wish you tuned the goddamn guitar, you know. So now we made sure that everything was tuned and in shape and sounded the way it should sound. And so by the time that we got to recording the bass and drums, they already had a perfect background to record to, with all the finished vocals, almost all the finished solos, and all the guitars and keyboards and everything. So, which gave them sort of full freedom to, here it is, do whatever you want, make it work, you know. And they could stand there and record that live together, and that gives it a vivid, easy going feel, in a sense, you know. But of course, I mean, it's based on songwriting, choruses and stuff that is easy to sing along to as well.
There's always a relationship between artist and the arts, but what relationship do you expect this album to build with a fan base?
I just wish it to sort of keep on going from where we left off with the Phoenix album, which was our biggest commercial success up to that date, you know. And to do that on your 12th album is quite an accomplishment, to be honest. And we also, like I said in every interview so far, what our old fan base has to sort of take into consideration is that our new fan base, 70% of our new fan base are from 2014 and onwards, which makes them the bigger part of our fan base, you know. But with that said, what's great is that we still have our old fan base also loving the new material, right? So we never left anyone behind, or, you know, took a sharp turn to some direction that people didn't accept or respected or whatever. So we brought everybody with us, but now we have also all of these new people that came in on these new last 5 albums now. It will be with our Heartless Portrait. So yeah, in terms of set lists and live and stuff like that, we have to sort of base them on those albums, right? So, and I mean, we'll always keep 1 or 2 songs from the old days, but maybe now it's time to sort of focus on the new stuff, because that's what we're here to promote, and it's also music that we love to have written, you know.
Feel free to correct me here, and I know you're not afraid to correct me at any point in time, but listen.
Vodka.
Listening to this record, I felt like the biggest change from the previous album to this one is that this one doesn't, at least to me, it didn't rely as much on the atmosphere as the previous album did. This one felt more grounded, a little bit warmer in the sound. It felt more organic, for a lack of a better term. Do you agree with that assessment of this new record?
I mean, the organic part, yes, and that comes from us playing it, and it comes from Jonas and Johan playing that live together, you know. I'm pretty certain of that. But for the other aspects of your analysis, I'm not trying to assess anything from our albums ever, because it doesn't give me anything to compare my music now and to the ones before. I get more intrigued hearing what you guys have to say about it. I have people that, this reminds me of the good old days when you well, because they hate the new stuff, actually. No, but I mean, probably. But I mean, I've had several people say different things about this album. This is your darkest album to date. I was like, okay. This is your most melodic album. This is your most accessible album. This is the album that reminds me most of In Search of Truth. I was like, yeah, whatever, you know, whatever floats your boat, you know. It's just great. I don't think it's my, I don't think it's up to me to sort of analyze all of your guys' analysis. You know, I mean, it's I think it's 10 new Evergrey songs. That's what it is for me.
But how do you see it, for example, in terms of heaviness? Because I know that's a topic that's been discussed ad nauseum when the singles have been released, and I feel like this is definitely a heavier side of the band on this record. Do you feel like this is a heavier album, or you're not really concerned about the level of heaviness that Evergrey is putting on an album?
I think this is a good. I mean, I think I always say that it's a guitar-driven album, but for this album, it really is. There's a lot of punchy riffs going on this album. Like, we start with heavy riffs pretty much on every song. So that is a thing that I think maybe separates this one from the last one. I'm not even. I can't even remember the last songs on the. I was thinking what was the song from the prior album, but I can't remember one single one. But yeah, it's a guitar-driven, heavy album. Yeah, for sure.
I love the drum sound on this record. I feel like the drums have so much punch. They have so much kick. Did that come from that approach that you guys took as far as the recording is concerned, or did anything else change as far as the drum sound or the style or the approach of the recording?
I mean, we always try to perfect our sound at all times. That is where we are sonic nerds in a sense. We try to get as good, sound as possible from the start, so that we get inspired by the sound alone to write great songs, and then we give the best of our abilities over to Jacob, and he can start mixing it with me and Jonas being in there and no, don't do that, don't do this, don't touch that, please put more reverb. I mean, it must be a nightmare, a fucking nightmare to mix us, but yeah, that's what you get, But I don't remember the question. What was the question?
the drums, the heaviness on the drums, the power of the drums. Did anything change, or was just the recording style and approach?
No, I think the drums are based on the songwriting in a sense. I mean, of course, but I mean that's also affecting how you hit the drum. That's affecting how you play the guitar. It's affecting how I deliver the vocals. The songs are what sort of sets the what do you call it? The song decides how we should play it and sing it and perform it. This is that kind of song. I have to play the guitar more harshly. I can't sit here and jazz along this riff like Save Us. That needs to be played with balls, right? So, and I guess that's the same for the drums. And I don't remember if he has new drums on this album or if he had them already on the prior album. But other than that, I don't know.
You mentioned that you guys are guitar nerds. So how much into the weeds do you guys get when you're putting these riffs together, the melodies, and even working on the solos? Does this consume a lot of your time?
Jan, I mean, we're different in that aspect. For the lead work, me and Henrik are very different. Henrik is this wild, crazy, tapping, inspired in the second guy, and I'm... and he has his favorite guitar players. I don't even know what... I mean, he loves guitar playing. He's such a guitar nerd. You should interview him about guitars, because we have a totally different approach to guitar playing. But for me, one of my heroes when it comes to guitar soloing, for instance... Yes, but in a band, it's Adrian Smith. But as a solo artist, I can mention 1 million great guitar players. But in a band, it's Adrian Smith. I can sing each and every note of every solo he did prior to Brave New World. And that's how I approach my guitar solos as well. It's him and David Gilmour, of Pink Floyd. And I like to write my solos in a way that it's well composed for me, So yes, we have had a lot of time to do great solos on this album. This is the album that I'm most happy with, guitar playing wise, of any of our albums.
When you're putting these songs together and you're getting into those weeds, at any point in time, does playing these songs live come into the picture in terms of what do you think is going to work best, or you're just in the moment creating the best song possible for Evergrey?
No, I can't think. No, I never think about what we can play live, because then it would be like 4 notes, ding ding ding. No. But no, that would really hinder me. That would really put a boundary on my playing abilities. I like to get out there and play on the top of my ability, which I can if I can sit down and really fuck around with it, But if I have to think about, oh my god, how am I gonna be able to do this in a live setting, then I would play like shit on an album. But so now I have to sit down and practice my own solos. How the hell did I do that? And then I have to figure it out, and it's a nightmare. It's taking a good while for me to figure that out.
One more question about the guitars. Listening to this album, you could tell the work that went into every single note, every single solo, every single riff, every single melody. It's clear as day the moment you listen to the album. but all that work makes the sound feel so clean, so fluid. How do you find a balance between creating something that's so elaborate and at the same time gives the listener a sense of complete ease and simplicity?
Luck. I don't know what it is. I guess having practiced at something for 30 years as a songwriter, you get better at things like this, finding the balance and knowing what will work in the Evergrey context. And I mean, we love guitar playing, we love songwriting, we love all of the aspects of every composition. And I mean, today Henrik released his solo album. I'm getting a signature model with Caparis, and he has 2 signature models with Charvel now. So it's a very important part of who we are as musicians. But for me, the guitar playing is a component and a tool for me to get to the best song. Whereas for Henrik, I think it's more, he just lives guitar, you know. I live songwriting, so we're different in that aspect. But the balance when we come together makes a decent duo of guitar players in a great band. Our keyboard player wrote online the other day, some bands have a great guitar player. I'm so lucky to have 2. That was great to read. You know, it's something that we take pride in. You know?
How did you feel like your vocals were aligned with the sound that you created for this album? Was this album a little bit more challenging than the previous records, or things went smooth as far as finding the right place for your vocal lines on the overall composition of these songs?
I mean, that is the thing that I put the most time with, you know, on. It's writing top line vocal lines. It's something that I enjoy tremendously. It's something that bothers me the most when I get it to like 95% or 99% even. But I never leave it unfinished. I never leave it like, okay, this will do. And that goes for all of the music, but especially for the vocals. It's like it's such an important aspect of my persona, and I trying to get so much better for every album that I, you know, working myself to the bone. But I mean, also I have these other projects like Silent Skies where I get to sing in one way, and I sing in Redemption where I get to sing in a third way, and all of these projects help each other in that way, because I find out things about my voice and registers and frequencies and, you know, chord changes and whatever. So my melodic language sort of expands for everything I do. And also these computer games that we work on, me and Vikram Shankar, that allow me to not sing, which also helps me in wanting to sing more. So yeah, I'm proud to be a singer, and I'm extremely confident today that I write at the best of my ability, and as I said, I'm so ADHD that I never let anything go if it's not 100% to my liking. I don't sleep much, but I play a lot of music.
So where do you feel like you're more in your natural environment, with the guitar in hand or the mic in hand?
Oh, always with the guitar in hand. I refer to myself as a guitar player. When people ask, so what do you do in the band? So up until the Recreation Day album, which came out like 2003, I think, I refer to myself as, yeah, I'm the guitar player. Oh yeah, and I sing too. You know, so that's weird, right? Then I had been singing for like fucking 10 years already. So releasing stuff. So yeah, it's. But I feel, yeah. Am I a better singer than a guitar player? Yeah, probably. Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, it's like.
It's funny that you say that, because I think if you ask the fan base, they see you more as the singer and not as much perhaps as the guitar player. So it's interesting that you see they see you as the singer that plays guitar. You see yourself as the guitar player that sings.
Yeah, maybe that changed for me now though. But yeah, that's how I perceived myself before. I was a guitar player that happened to be singing too, and now I'm both, I would say. But and I love both aspects. I love to sit and fuck around with the guitar and just play but I never get the chance to do it because I want to write a song, you know. So it's like, yeah.
You caught in between those two worlds. And at what point of the process do the lyrical content comes into play, and how do you approach it for a record like A Heartless Portrait?
I mean, I have things that I want to say. How do I approach it? I have the song. I know what is the chorus. Pretty much immediately when I listen to a song, I know that, okay, we need to move this around. This needs to be the verse. This needs to be the chorus. And when I have the sort of structure there, then I start to compose vocals, and I just sit down and I hum. I take my morning walk for like 75 minutes, and I hum into my iPhone. It sounds like a moron, idiot walking around, because when I get back, of course, I hum. I only have the I don't have the music. I only have the humming, right? And then I have to sort of label each and every song. Okay, you are now humming to song number 3, you know. And then I get back, and then I've sort of hummed things that sound like words, right? But it's like it's no words. And then that process is, okay, now I need to perfect the melody line, and then I perfect the melody line up to the point where I feel that I can sing something, and then I still hum these words but with a better melody line. And when that is done and we're sort of approaching the end of the song, then I sit down and try to make lyrics that I want to write but that sound like the words that I'm humming, you know. So it's a process. I'm not sure that it's the most convenient process, but it's a process that sort of I love, because it's like my unconscious is telling me things by humming these words and pronouncing stuff that aren't words, but then I find the right words and they sound like that pretty much. So and sometimes the lyrics are hidden within those unpronounced words, if you will.
That sounds very convoluted.
It is. I mean, and it's my process. I don't know if anybody else does that, but it's like it makes sense for me, you know.
I have one last question for you. You mentioned right at the beginning of our discussion that the old fan base, the new fan base, the expectations of the fan base, but it really comes down to your own expectations. After 13 albums, what motivates you, and what doors do you feel like they're still there for you guys to open as Evergrey?
I mean, first, what motivates me is, it's to write a better song than the last one. And if there's more to do for Evergrey, yeah, we're still aiming for world domination. I'm not any different than I was when I was 21. Maybe, and I'm not more realistic either. I still believe that we will play stadiums. I have to have that goal. That's what I'm aiming for. If I don't believe that, who will believe it after that? You know, it's like that's my dream. But you know, I'm still at the same time also grateful for the things that I've gotten to do, that I am doing, and that I get to experience. So it's a mixture of gratitude and unrealistic dreams, and I think that's what you need to have in order to stay urgent, stay fired up, and strive. Striving is everything for me. So.
Well, Tom, thank you very much for your time. As always, it's always a pleasure talking to you about Evergrey, about music, about yourself. You're one of the best guys to talk to. I absolutely enjoy picking your brain.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
With you. And I hope to see you in North America, in Toronto, at some point in time. The last time I saw you guys play in Toronto, I think was 2018. So
yeah. We need to change that.
Yeah, it's been a very long time.
Yeah. I mean, as soon as this pandemic is out of the way, we will get to come out and celebrate music and life again, and all over the world. So yeah, thanks for having me.
Looking forward to it. Take care.
Thanks, man.